Well, hello there and welcome back. This is Nalijay with High Latency and we're back into Planet Zoo. It's been a minute since I've played this game, mostly because my computer broke and I still haven't fixed it. That's just life when you have a toddler. So we're looking at the new Twilight DLC that just dropped last week. And yeah, it's got some really cool decorations and some exciting things for Halloween, which is also coming up very soon. So this is the career mode, not time scenario. And I know that a lot of people had been asking for a new career map. So it seems like they've heard you guys and delivered. I did notice that they didn't get the voice actors back, but they found a way around it by using these messages. So I did try this game before and had this pathing issue where the guests would come down the path here, down the mountain, and then just kind of give up. We'll see here, they're like, just stop there at the path and turn around. And I couldn't work out why. I couldn't get them to come back down, all the way down into the zoo. So I don't know if it's a bug or if they're tired. I tried putting benches in and sorry, it's a bit jerky here. Tried putting benches in, couldn't put them in because of the angle of the path down the mountain. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to build up here at the top next to the castle because there's room, there's power, and I couldn't figure out why the guests weren't coming all the way down. I did try putting in started putting in a monorail, but I was a little bit worried about how much it would cost. Having played through this now, I know that, you know, when you're on easy mode, you don't really have to worry about money. So maybe putting a monorail from the top down to that area might work, but I just decided to set up camp on the top of the mountain. So you can see I'm just putting in some staff buildings up here, and I couldn't delete the staff buildings that were down in the little village area. So I could close some of them, but not delete them. So I've just left those down there. So with this one, there are a couple of things that you need to know straight up. I guess if you are using the section down near the village where there's a few, down here, there's a few. That was me just deleting the habitat gates, so I don't have to pay for habitats that I'm not using, and the mechanics, etc., won't go down there. The habitats that are already set up are for wombat, raccoon, and fox. So I guess the game's kind of like suggesting that you start with those animals. So I guess that's kind of just what I did. Because you know, one of the goals is building up your animals. In the end, you need to have 12 habitat animals. You need to have the 5 bats in the bat exhibit. There's like a walkthrough exhibit that's already on the map, and having 3 additional exhibit animals. But what I will point out is one thing that really kind of shot myself in the foot with was one of the gold objectives, so at the very end, is you need to breed 6 Himalayan brown bears. And my God, if it doesn't take a really long time to do that. So I would suggest getting your Himalayan brown bears as soon as you can, because it takes a while for them to mate, and when they do have babies, the babies take about 4 years to mature. And I don't know if it's the bears won't mate if they've already got babies, but I don't know if that's actually what is the kind of rule or not. But I found that they weren't making more babies while they already had babies, and there was like a 4-year wait for them to mature, and then you got to do it again. So the Himalayan brown bears can have between 1 and 4 babies, And when I did it, they were having like 2 babies per litter. So I guess you could get lucky and just have, 4 and then 2 to get that 6 brown bear's bread. But either way, the point is, try and get the Himalayan brown bears early. Now, I found I was able to pay cash for the female, but the male I had to have conservation credits for. Now, for some reason, you'll see here my conservation credits are 0. I don't know why, if they've changed how it works, but I thought that the conservation credits normally sort of ticked upwards if you had sort of education in the zoo. Maybe it's because my education rating is pretty bad, but for whatever reason it was just stagnant at 0. So this is the existing the bat exhibit, which I took from down the mountain and just moved it up so I didn't have to pay for a new one. So essentially I couldn't get the male again until I had the conservation credit. So again, it took me a long time. I couldn't just pay for a female and a male. So when you're putting in your other habitat animals, just recommend that you put in female and male, because that's another thing that I didn't do. I just put in single sex because I thought, this will be easier to manage. But if you can get them breeding, then you can get those conservation credits, and then you can buy your male brown bear. Who knows, you might get lucky and be able to get one for cash. So that is very important to start your Himalayan brown bear breeding and exhibit as soon as you can. Okay, so that is the bronze objectives reached, and they're pretty self-explanatory and not too difficult to reach. Capturing animals, hiring the staff and putting burrows in is pretty easy, and then the just adding the fruit bats in. So you're really just, the most difficult is really just, getting the habitat animals in and getting your guests up. So another consideration for early on in the in this map is to get your research going early. There are a couple of objectives that relate to research. So there's the more on the nose one of researching the brown bear, Himalayan brown bear to level 4. Then the more subtle research goals involve mechanic research. So you need to have everything powered by natural energy, which is, it's interesting because when they had that objective in the timed scenario, the conservation time scenario, it literally meant everything. So if you had a light on the other side of the zoo that wasn't powered, you didn't get it until you powered that light. But I found that it was just, I think it's just buildings and habitats, because when I put my renewable energy in, which you'll see later on, there were actually still lights that were left unpowered. So I guess that's good. It's easier to manage. And then another research thing, another thing you have to research is the suspended gondola ride, which is, I think, research level 2 of the transport rides, because you'll need to build one of those in for the gold objectives. So yeah, my approach to this map was just, and again, sorry for the moments of jerky video. My aim was just to kind of keep everything tight within this entry power circle radius, so that I wouldn't have to pay for a bunch of transformers or wind turbines or what have you. And you can see now I've got I've done my exhibits, so they're in that multi exhibit house there, and I've got 4 of my 12 animals in. And again, just pausing here on the objectives for silver, there's nothing really I didn't think particularly challenging about the objectives, and possibly it's because I've played a lot of time scenarios. I think there's only one that I haven't finished, and I also went through and did all the rest of the career maps on hard because I wanted those Chivos. So, apart from the, mismanagement of the Himalayan brown bears, I did find that this was quite achievable. And, again, I was sort of trying to do it fast because I didn't want to have to upload a really long video, and I guess I'm kind of used to it, trying to do things quickly, but it's career mode, so you can take your time. Not that you can't take your time in timed as well, you're just not going to get one of the stars. I mean, that's the argument I kind of make to people anyway who complain about, well, not complain, but who don't enjoy time scenarios. It's like, there's nothing, the game doesn't end when the clock runs out. There's nothing that says you can't do a time scenario at a leisurely pace. So my strategy in adding the additional animals, because I think apart from the Himalayan brown bear, the bats, I think those are the only ones that are prescribed. Oh yes, me and pathing, my old nemesis. So you can, there's not really a great selection of animals to choose from, but usually my approach is to try and put in animals, particularly, as you go. Start off with animals that have the highest appeal. And I know that a lot of people take into other factors, other considerations, like, meat eaters, they cost so much and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, particularly on easy mode, this is, it's not really something that you need to factor in. I just didn't have a problem with money, just didn't become an issue at any point in this for me. Now it's possible probable that might be a problem on hard mode, but I don't think there's an achievement. I haven't actually checked, but could be wrong, but I don't think there's an achievement for doing this if you've already got the hard mode achievements for career mode. Sometimes you just like it for the challenge, but that's fine too. So here gotta love these professional parts. I never claimed that any of my zoos look pretty. I'm just highlighting that. I do actually have a couple of zoos where I have taken time to try and make them look fun or pretty or whatever. Okay, so that is the silver objectives complete, and Nancy's sent us a nice little message. Towards the end of year 4, I wouldn't claim this to be the fastest run through, but it is actually, see, proof that it's my first time through because I'm unlocking dem statues. Alright, so we are on to the gold objectives now. So that is building up our habitat animals to 12. So for me that was an additional 5. I'd already had enough guests, 1900, and the happiness above 60%, as well as keeping crime. That's fine. I didn't really do much for crime. Just had a few security guards. I think I had 2, and I had stuck a security camera above the ATM. But other than that, I didn't actually do much for crime. I think that the animals keep quiet signs weren't even up for many of the habitats either. So here we have the powering everything with renewable energy, breeding those Himalayan brown bears, putting in that suspended gondola ride, and education rating should be increased to 2 stars, but that's not really tricky. It's really those 3 energy bears and the ride that kind of need that forward planning to be done. So yeah, I guess trying to keep my skunk stress down. I find the animals that are easily stressed to be so annoying to manage, because sometimes even if you put, and I'm using air quotation here, screening plants into their habitat, and even in some cases I've had where I've put screening plants in, I've had one-way glass, if they still get stressed out. So I don't know if you really need a combination of those things and the be quiet signs in order for them to never get stressed. It just kind of seems to be a side effect of the cost of success, really. You have a lot of people in your zoo that the shy animals just get hella bothered by it. But again, so to get my education rating up, I'm just putting in more of the education signs, which again, because I'm just so used to, I could have sworn I already put that food counter up there, but maybe that's really bizarre. Maybe the game kind of glitched on it when I reloaded my game, because I did this over 2 sessions. I think it took me 3 or 4 hours to do in real time. I had just been neglecting some of the enrichment items and education, which again is just a product of me just playing time scenarios all the time. Just used to prioritizing the goals instead of paying attention to the details, which is another reason why this zoo is so ugly. Don't worry, I realize it is not very pretty at all. In order to fit those additional 5 animals, I've just cleared this space out the back so I don't have to deal with figuring out how to get people off the mountain. I just flattened it because the undulations in the terrain were getting a bit annoying with the pathing and everything. And some of the walls. So just flattened this and I brought the path around here and intended to make a little, not a plaza, but a section where the guests could get food and drink and that sort of thing to try and entice them over here, because I'd already put in a lot of the high appeal animals in the main area. I knew that the animals that were going to go over in this section were going to be pretty low appeal, so having those drink food shops, toilets, etc. over here might help to entice them. I was thinking about moving the bears over here because they're quite large areas and they probably could have, but I don't know, I just didn't do it in the end because I couldn't be bothered. Oh, and also, if you're not too fussed about the little decorative pieces, which, if you're taking it seriously as a labor of love and you want it to look pretty, etc., maybe you want to keep them. But I did notice that when I deleted that little broken rundown tower thing that was in the center before, that did give me quite a lot of money. So if for some reason you're finding money is an issue, maybe you're on a harder mode, just don't forget that you can sell some of these set pieces for money. Not all of them, but some of them you can move about and sell. And rocks, don't forget rocks are good for getting some spare cash as well. But do not delete plants if you're strapped for cash. I know it could be annoying when there's a whole bunch of them to have to move them, and then if you try and move them as a group, they float and they don't, sit properly on the terrain, and it looks stupid. But it can cost you a lot of money to remove trees, which I guess makes sense. It's like, how many people sell giant trees? I don't know if there's really a market for that. Surely some people would be buying them. Some of those pines you could sell as Christmas trees, I suppose, but they're probably a bit too big to fit in the house. I got my 5 final habitat species over here, and I've set up my shops, and then just making sure that they are visible. And I've got my donation boxes, not that I really need them at this point because I've got 200k. I did find, you can see in the back of this, sort of in the background there towards the entrance, that main path got really, really congested, which I think can impact on your guests' happiness if it takes them a long time to get anywhere. But again, it's something I didn't worry about too much because I don't think the guest happiness was really that much of a concern for this one. It was more their education rating, which 2 out of 5 stars is really such a low threshold. I don't think I even had all of the education boards set up for all of the animals. So that's how low it is. I didn't have educators, I tell you what. Here's another check-in to the objectives at the end of year 6. So I'm just working on getting the habitat animals welfare up a bit, and of course the gondola ride and bears I foolishly left till last, although the gondola ride doesn't really take a long time. Yeah, so here I am realizing that a male Himalayan brown bear is going to cost me conservation credits that I don't have. And that's when, I looked down and realized I had none. So I'm selling off the offspring of even the bats, which aren't worth very much. Try and get those conservation credits. Yeah, I was really surprised because it's the end of year 6. And usually I find they just kind of tick over by themselves. So maybe that, I don't know what mechanic that was that's related to it. I mean, like, I could just blame a glitch, but I don't think that's it. I think maybe you have to have some to start them ticking, or maybe it has to do with a certain amount of education before it just naturally increases by itself. But I chucked in another research center when I realized, I have to research rides as well. So as I said before, try and get that research done earlier on in the piece. It'll save you some time. I couldn't work out why I couldn't increase the height on this habitat here, but it was just because I had an additional fence kind of swinging in the wind. I guess that's what happens sometimes when you build a habitat and you're zoomed all the way out. You can't really see what you're doing. So now I've got my Himalayan brown bear in there. It is the end of year 7 and I'm just starting the breeding. And so here goes the gondola ride. It's a gondola ride to nowhere because I couldn't be bothered. I went all the way down here because I'm like, oh, maybe I'll see if putting a gondola ride in actually gets the visitors down to the town. But then I decided to just do it the lazy way and put in a gondola ride to nowhere that nobody's actually going to ride. Yeah, and again, pathing is just my natural enemy. I don't understand why they're very concerned about not clipping with the ride, but it'll clip with any kind of rock or what have you. Oh yeah, and then that wasn't quite long enough, so I had to go back and redo it. So there you go. I'm on my last objective. It's the August Year 7. Definitely you guys can do this faster than I did, particularly if you do those things early. So I don't know if happiness has anything to do with fertility. But I decided let's make these bears as happy as possible. So they finally procreated. Here we go. And March year 9. They gave birth to 2. And then I had to wait for them to grow up. And here we go. End of year 14. There's the other 2. So there you go. So I am still waiting for my bears to have 2 more babies. So but I figured that's the bulk of the map, so I would end it there rather than waiting till year 19 for them to get up and have those last 2 babies. But it's doable. So there we have it. That is the career map for the Twilight DLC pack. No time scenario on this one, folks, but thanks for joining me. And if you thought this video was in the slightest bit helpful, please drop us a like, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.